Welcome back, everybody. I will put exhibit proof on the screen right now. You guys absolutely destroyed the last Cod, tier list video. It was only up for a day, is what it says, on YouTube right now, like kind of 2-ish, I guess. And it has 33 views, and I believe the How to YouTube series, the like part 2 of the How to YouTube one, had like 31, and that was released like days ago, maybe like a week now, I think. So yeah, let's get back into it. So we ended off at Ghost last time, and somebody actually commented on the part 1 of the Cod Tier List video. They just said they would pretty much rank MW2 higher. And actually, now that I think about it, I responded to the comment, but basically gist of it was like, since I felt like MW3 was so similar to MW2 in COD 4, I put it like lower on the thing. I put it at like I think I gave it like a C. But MW2 and COD 4 are like really good games, and the fact that it is similar to that, you get what I'm trying to say. So I'm gonna actually bump that up to like a B. I feel like the similarities are too great to give it like an A, but I think it does deserve a bump up for that. So moving on now, we ended at Ghost, and now we are at Advanced Warfare. Now Advanced Warfare, I feel like had so much more potential than it really lets you have. And I've pretty much watched reviews on like all of these. I know like one of the points I keep making when I go to like the next game is like I watched a review on it. I watched the Act Man, and he reviews games, and he's reviewed like almost every COD game, I'm pretty sure. So what he talked about a lot was like the missed opportunities and like all the advanced like technology they have, right? There was a bit that he mentioned where there's that part in the game where you can use those magnetic gloves and you climb up a wall to get a position, right? But that never really comes back in the game, and you never really get to use it for yourself. So it's really just like the freedom of use of like the advanced like technology that like you can have, especially in a game like that where is advanced. It's called Advanced Warfare. I did like the characters. I wish they were fleshed out a little bit more. Kevin Spacey was amazing. He's always amazing. But Gideon and Joker, I did like those two characters especially, and we didn't have a silent protagonist in that. Mitchell was anything but silent. I'm not saying he talked a lot, but he did talk. I feel like also with the multiplayer, one of those things with advanced like shooter games with the advanced movement as well, with like jump packs and stuff, is also being able to hit those kinds of people. Hitting people when they're jumping, in the air and dashing around and stuff. It makes it significantly harder, and whether that's fun or not is really for like you to decide, of course. But generally, when most of your games keep people on the ground, and it's hard to track that, it can be frustrating for like casual players who like don't have laser beam, accuracy. You have a terrorist guy that you need to take out, you do, but turns out he has information on your boss, and your boss kind of ends up being the bad guy. So you end up having to take out Kevin Spacey, and the motivations again are sort of bleak, I would say, for like your villains. It's not at least for Kevin Spacey, because he made the point that like in that UN scene, like your wars don't work, meaning that they don't solve anything. Their conflicts keeps like arising and stuff like that, and that was actually like a good point. But as far as like Hades, that guy, it's just, it felt like terrorism just for the sake of terrorism. There was the multiplayer again. There was the map though. There was this one map where a door opened in like the middle of the game, and it opened into like a new area, which for as far as like COD maps go, I think they also did it in Ghost, but for Advanced Warfare they also did it in one map in there, and that's pretty unique. It makes it a little bit more like exciting, because if you're fighting in one area for so long and then you get like another space to go in, that's like, whoa, COD doesn't usually do this, so that's different, and I like that. I might give that like a C. I don't think it deserved, like, it had the potential, but it just really didn't deliver on much, I'd say. So it's in between D and C, but I feel like D is a little much. I'll put it at C for now. See how I feel about it. Black Ops 3. Okay, we got Black Ops 3. So Black Ops 3 isn't, as far as I'm concerned, Black Ops 3 and 4 aren't really Black Ops games, despite the name, of course. Black Ops 3, it mentions like Menendez like once or twice, and Nova 6 comes up, but after that, there's like neither of the Masons, no Woods, no anybody, no Harper, like no returning characters. None of the story comes back either. It's like they decided to make. It's like they tried to like almost reboot the Black Ops series by just making a completely different thing, but it just didn't come through. For like the sake of like my like logical part of my brain, I can't figure out why they did what they did with this game, or like where they were going with it, especially since they didn't have like, there was no returning characters, no returning story. I mean, like, besides the two times I think Menendez is mentioned and Nova 6 pops up, but that's not even relevant to their story anymore. It's like a completely different thing. So for the campaign, it was pretty boring. Just like another linear one. They really dropped the ball on that one. As far as multiplayer, I know my brother plays it, a decent amount. I haven't really played it very much. After I saw like some clips of Black Ops 3, I like watched I believe I watched like a playthrough of it, and I had no desire to play the game, because as far as like I'm concerned, Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 story was amazing. So that's what I'm going to come to like a Black Ops 2 game for, especially. And after I saw that, I'm like, no, I'm not showing up for that. The zombies in this game, though, I heard was very, very good, and I've seen gameplay of it as well. But again, since there wasn't really there wasn't a campaign for me to get invested in, I saw no reason to get the game, especially since I'm not really a big zombies fan. But I've heard it was actually pretty fun. When I watched the review of it, I heard that it got like a lot of praise from like the COD community. So I guess that's sort of, I'll let the zombies in this one kind of cancel out the campaign, so that's kind of there, which only would leave like multiplayer as like the outlying judged kind of thing. But for like campaign, it makes up 33%, point whatever you want, but like 33% of a COD game. So I'll give it a C. No, because of how far they deviated from Black Ops, I'm gonna give it a D. I would put it lower if zombies wasn't there, actually. So yeah. Infinite Warfare. Now, Infinite Warfare I also didn't play, especially if you saw the reveal trailer. It had a huge like dislike to like ratio in favor of dislikes. Like, people did not like it. And of course, that was before they removed the dislike button, which that's a whole separate thing. But Infinite Warfare, as far as what I saw in the review of it, it had like good characters. The main villain was kind of but it did bring back some sort of like mechanics from like Black Ops 2, where there are side missions that you can do, and you can like kind of choose how you go about them. There were space battles, which generally you don't really have a lot of like flying battles in like COD games. Like, you do, but if they are, it's kind of linear. But for Infinite Warfare, it kind of lets you have a little bit more freedom about how you go out there. From what I also did see, like, the maps looked really amazing. Like, I'm a huge like nerd for like space and stuff. Like, I love space. It looks so cool, although it's terrifying, but whatever. So if anything, I would play it for like the scenery, because it did look pretty cool, and I like the idea of like going to like other planets and stuff like that. So Infinite Warfare, I feel like, was kind of lacking. It did bring back some like more creative elements, but I'd say for now I'd give it like a D. I didn't play multiplayer either. From what I saw, it was kind of the same advanced movement stuff, and of course with advanced movement, you can get more creative with the way you play. But at least as far as me, it's like I want like something more casual, where I know everybody's at least going to be on the ground whether they're at least like an elevated position, prone, like somewhere else, whatever. At least you know they're on the ground, and the highest they can get up off it is if they go to like the highest position on the map and jump. That's the highest they can go. So yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go and give it a D. I don't even remember what its third mode was, but yeah, D tier. Next up is COD World War II. Oh my goodness. So I actually want to play this game, just because I've got like this World War II itch that I feel like needs to be like scratched a little bit, but I'm already playing like Battlefield 5, and COD World War II actually looked pretty interesting to me, and it's like it kind of harkens on like the more like brother in arms like vibe that like World at War had, on the American side of things. So generally that's more of the focus for the campaign rather than the story itself, at least so I've heard. I got to play a little bit of it when I was at my friend's house one time, and he had it, and I got to play like some of the campaign. Some notable things for the campaign was that mission when you get to sneak into like a Nazi headquarters or something like that, and you have to get some information, and you know you're basically surrounded by like enemies, but you got to be discreet and secret about it. You're not like sneaking around the house or around the building. You have like a fake identity and you go in and you know stuff like that. It's similar to that mission from Cold War where you go in as Belikov into the KGB headquarters, and you know you're doing stuff in there. So that's like the best comparison I can think of for it. World War II's multiplayer. Oh yeah, I remember I dipped my toe into that a little bit, just a little bit, and I remember it was so confusing. I couldn't find the UI was insanely difficult to like you know go through and to manage, because I couldn't find like how to edit my classes. I didn't know where to go to do that, and I believe that was the issue. And then the perk system was really weird, and it was horrible. And then there was that thing with the with like the it was like the lobby in between you and like playing a game. So you had to go to like a lobby area where you could like open like supply crates and like do other stuff, and there was cool stuff in there. But I think the problem with that for most people was that they just wanted to skip that and go straight to like multiplayer instead of having to go to that lobby area. But they patched that later on. I forget what their third mode was either. I don't honestly, it doesn't really matter. As far as the maps on multiplayer though, I'm pretty sure most of them were like 3-lane maps, and they weren't very good. As far as what I saw from the review, there was like one bigger map that allowed for a little bit more like freedom and movement and stuff like that. And there was like the USS Texas, which I felt I did play that map, and I kind of felt like it was just hijacked from Black Ops 2, but just World War II battleship. So but yeah, I feel like there's still something to gain from like the campaign. There's still some more enjoyment there than most, and the multiplayer at least comes down a little bit and keeps everybody on the ground for the most part. So I'm gonna give it a C. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a C. Next up is Black Ops 4. Now this one, as most of you probably know, it didn't have a campaign, and I was like, you screwed up on Black Ops 3 with the campaign, so now you're just not going to have one at all. Okay, great. But they still but then they bring back Woods and Mason in this game, and like what, David Mason's daughter or something like that, and it's like, where are we going? What are we doing here? You know, it's just confusing. And then that's when they started bringing in the operators. That was also when they brought in Blackout, which would basically be the predecessor to Warzone. So, but I heard Blackout had like terrible issues with like rubber banding and stuff like that with its servers and stuff. So, it just the fact that it has the Black Ops name, doesn't have a campaign, but will still bring back Mason and Woods. Because I also remember there were like some cutscenes where it's Woods talking to Mason. Sorry, I'm a little nasally at the moment. It is Woods talking to Mason, and Mason is in a wheelchair, and he's basically just repeating what Mason said to him from like Black Ops 2, or no, it was like, I think it was from Black Ops 1 when they were in Vietnam. And it's just that, and I didn't understand. Maybe there, because it was a while ago, so maybe there's some lore I'm missing there, but I just didn't get it. I just didn't agree. I also heard that a lot of like the Black Ops 4 maps were like remakes too, and there wasn't a lot of like there wasn't much to delve into as far as the maps and stuff. Gunplay was good, but yeah, the only thing it had going for it really was Blackout as a battle royale. And even then, it started out really crappy. But seeing what that concept turned into for COD, I'm still gonna have to give it like especially for what it was, because I'm not gonna give it credit for what other games did with that, for like what future games did with that concept. So I'm gonna give it a D for that. Actually, maybe I should give it an F. That's some. I'm giving it an F. I'm putting it in the F tier. Modern Warfare 2019, actually a good game here. So 2019, of course, was the sort of reboot, soft reboot of the series. And as some of you may know, there's the MW2 coming out. The sort of like continuation of like the reboot series. So as far as 2019, it like revolutionized pretty much everything. It's like it took a remaster and then remastered it again. The gunplay was amazing. Guns looked and sounded so good. The detail on the guns and the reloads were so good. Just generally the detail in the game, very well done. The graphically speaking, it looked really good. So campaign so you have Barkov, right? The Russian dude. Not very unique at all. As far as like the missions go, it's still just kind of you fighting in the Middle East and just kind of going on like your like secret missions, I guess, kind of with like Captain Price. It's a soft reboot, so they're not trying to Black Ops 3 this thing, right? So for the reboot that it was, it did its job, and it did it well. The multiplayer, especially with like the new innovations they had with the weapons and stuff, was so much more fun to play. I remember my friend and I were on that for like a while, and then at some point, shipment 24/7. Oh my goodness! I tell you, me and my friend, right, we're just on that every night. You ready to play? Sure. What game? Already, it was already understood. Modern Warfare 2019, shipment 24/7, shotguns, grenades, whatever, right? So yeah, that was definitely fun. It had those kind of like events and stuff, so it had like a little bit of everything for everyone, which is kind of like what COD should be. There should be game modes that everybody can play and get into, objective based, like TDM stuff like that, right? So the problem, other than that, I actually didn't like the campaign because I wanted more combat from it. I feel like I didn't get enough combat, but that's just, I feel like that's more of like that is more a personal thing, so that shouldn't really go from taking away to the game. Apparently Spec Ops, I didn't play Spec Ops in this game, but turns out there wasn't very much Spec Ops to play, especially at release, because there was one mission that had rampant glitches in it, so not really much to say, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, campaign and multiplayer were good, And then Warzone, I believe, makes its return. Well, not its return, but like makes its debut of sorts here. And of course, it's the biggest hit right now. People stream it, people play it with their friends. You know, it's all inclusive. It's popular. You know, so I don't play it because I don't really like battle royale games, but for Modern Warfare 2019 being the reboot, it was, and it did get more Spec Ops missions, even though I also heard Spec Ops missions were insanely hard as well. I'm going to give it. Because I want to give it an S, right? I want to give it S, but just because of how it released with Spec Ops, I'm gonna give it an A. I'm gonna give it an A. I don't think it deserves S for that. I don't think it deserves S. Next up, we have Black Ops Cold War. Now, Black Ops Cold War, I initially didn't like. I played through it all. I played multiplayer. I played the zombies, and I didn't like it. And the reasons for that was because I played Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 like on repeat for like years, right? And I still do it, and I'm still going to do it because they're just that good to me. But I felt like it was way too similar. Like it was way too similar with the mind stuff. Spoilers, of course, if you haven't played it. But with Bell having his like mind manipulated and stuff like that, and like having implanted memories, and it felt way too similar to Black Ops 1, and I was like, it's just kind of like a carbon copy, you know? But Black Ops Black Ops Cold War follows Modern Warfare in that it is a soft reboot, right? It's not supposed to be this like vastly different game, right? It's not supposed to have its own like thing necessarily. It changes itself enough, and what it does is kind of takes Black Ops 1, changes it a little bit, but still keeping the same concept there, and then improving on it. And my like entire idea around Cold War has completely like changed since I first played it. The campaign, awesome, absolutely awesome. You have like text like decisions that you can make, especially in the first mission where you can like throw a Rosh off the building. You can keep them and take him in and get information from him. You can further interrogate him and stuff like that. Graphically, it's where it should be. After Modern Warfare 2019, that's at the standard. Everything after that should look similar, unless it's like a remaster of like an older game. But graphically wise, we're good there. Gunplay, we're also good there. Detail, all that kind of stuff is good. The story, all that. You bring back Woods, Mason, Hudson. Different voice actors though. I didn't know until I heard them, of course. I didn't search up like an article or anything beforehand on like how the development of the game was going. But I heard it and I was like, that sounds weird. That's not like the Mason and Woods you're used to hearing. And I was really disappointed that they did change that. But the amount of like secrets in this game with decoding, like once you get all the evidence from the missions and stuff, you can decode it, and it gives you some more information on and I believe it unlocks some missions for you, and it unlocks some more information for you. And it was different for everybody too, so you kind of had to figure it out yourself. It was the same general format of how it had to be done, but the code and stuff was different. There was a secret area in your hub area where you go, you open the gate and you find the computer in the back. That's there. And there's also a little arcade thing. The mission where you infiltrate that Russian base, and you see that not diorama but It's like a fake U.S. town, like a fake stock U.S. town that they've been practicing invading and stuff like that. And you take pictures of it, and those pictures really like brought to mind like those old pictures that those old like black and white pictures that you would see of like historical like photos and footage. And it's like, man, I'm really like taking these photos. These are the photos. Like this is how they were done, just like in the field, snap it like that. It really gave that Cold War vibe, especially sneaking into like the KGB headquarters and that whole mission. Dude, that was like the first time I played it was just amazing. And even after I went back, I was like, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. So just like amazing in general, and all the choices that you can make. Again, spoilers at the end. Once you go through that like acid flashback, you have the choice to lie to Adler or to tell the truth. And if you tell the truth, you stop Percy's plan to launch the nuke and blame the U.S. and all that. But I thought at the end, when you tell the truth, you would end up like killing or capturing Perseus, and like you never even see him in the last level. And I felt like the last mission was kind of a letdown, to be honest. I was hoping there was going to be a little more to it. But if you were looking for that, you can get it. You can lie, and you can lie and go through with it, which just ends up getting you killed. Or you can lie, go to the gate, go like into the gated area, tell like Perseus pretty much that your team is going to the Duga array, and set up an ambush, right? Oh my god. I was so blown away by the fact that you could do what you did. You literally, after Adler's like, you waste our time, you're a spy, and he's about to shoot you, right? Or I think Woods is about to shoot you, something like that. You like, you have your little voice option, and then he does the, that thing, signals the ambush, RPG out of nowhere, freaking blows everything up. You see Perseus, and like, oh my god, it's actually this dude. And then he's like, time to get some payback. And I'm like, oh my god, am I actually about to like kill my team? So he gives you this freaking AK, and you're like, I'm doing this now. And you can you literally like push the hospital. Adler's inside injured, right? Push the hospital, killing your old team as you do it. And it's slow-mos. It's slow-mos when you shoot your own team. It's like, yeah, you're killing these dudes, and we're gonna slow it down, and you see your bullet, and just them go down, and then like you shoot Mason and Woods, right? And that's Mason and Woods, and you're like, holy frick! Like, I just killed Mason and Woods. Like this is these guys are the protagonists of Black Ops 1. And kind of like the side protagonists of Black Ops 2. I literally just killed these legendary characters. Right? Like, it's insane. And then if you do the executions on them, and it's the same executions too, you freaking shoot them in the face, push them off, whatever, like stab them, shoot, it was like stab, shoot, push them off, something like that. Just amazing. Also, side note, the assassinations themselves, like, they were so brutal and visceral. They were meaty, to say the least. So as far as the campaign, I don't see many flaws there. Besides this one thing, that lag. I don't know if any of you else, like any of you guys, also had the same problem, but there was. Like I got lag, right, where like the audio and the video wouldn't like match up, and the video would speed up to catch up to the audio and stuff like that. And I thought it was just my Xbox, but turns out a bunch of people had the same problem, and don't know why that happened, but it eventually got fixed or something, because it didn't happen anymore when I went back to play the campaign. So multiplayer, like I said, good. Gunplay was good. Detail to the gun stuff was also pretty good. Maps, I think, also were pretty diverse, especially in where you were playing. I felt like maybe they could be a little bit more like maybe a little bit more dynamic, like a little bit more like a little bit more like power positions and maybe some more wider, like not wider, but like maybe some more open maps. But generally, that's I feel like that's like personally. But yeah, generally I was okay with the maps. I liked them, and I went back to play Cold War multiplayer a while ago, and I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. And then we had zombies, and now this zombies also had a lot of praise for what it did. You no longer had to die to end the game. There was a like I think it was at like round 20. You could just opt out. There was story behind this one. If you guys ever played it or seen the thing on TikTok where like that soldier goes into the bunker and gets sealed in there, then he comes out later in another cutscene. I saw that a while ago too. But it was pretty fun. I played that with like my brother and my other friend too for a little bit before we got off. And the map, I think it was only the one map though, but it was pretty all right, you know, especially because like we're just playing it to have fun and stuff like that. So it's not really the biggest deal. Better than Black Ops 2 where you have to watch out for lava on the ground. So for Black Ops Cold War, I'm going to give that an S. I'm going to give that an S. Second to last one. No, it is last one. Call of Duty Vanguard. Oh, he had another World War II game. Okay, so COD World War II was already too much World War II. Pretty much nobody wanted that. But I think they had to switch. They had a different like idea for what they were gonna do, but something happened in development and they had to do World War II, and that's part of the reasons why World War II was the way it was. But that's just like speculation on my part. But Vanguard, back to World War II. Oh boy. Okay, so once again, when I saw it was a World War II game, I was like, I'm not gonna buy this. I'm probably not ever gonna buy it. Basically, the campaign is just it's extremely linear. First of all, I'd like to say that. Your main villain is stereotype, and the majority of the game is just flashbacks to like what your team did like before they all got put into like this team. So you had some people in Africa, some people in the Pacific, some in like the Eastern Front, and barely any of the game. Like I think like half the game, maybe not even half, like a third of the game actually takes place in the present. So it's like what do COD fans want? They want more character development. That's something we should add to our game, but you shouldn't make that the entire game. You could sprinkle that in throughout the game, but you don't make it the focus of the game. That's ridiculous. Like, you can still include all these like different fronts. You can include the Eastern Front, the Western Front, the Pacific, all that, without having to give them like each their own, like how War at War did it. You can switch back and forth, you can go to different places, but it's not one. You don't have to focus on one character in that situation and on those fronts. You didn't have to do it like that. It's a little forced. It's too forced on the character development level or area, and it's just not. It doesn't flow very well either, I'd say. And then you end up killing the main villain dude at the end, who was like Hitler's successor, which is an interesting concept, but the way they went about it, they didn't focus the campaign on that. They focused it on the backstory of everybody else. Graphically it looked good, but again, that's the standard now, so that shouldn't really be like a point for it. At the end they bring up like Nova 6 and like like Project Nova and stuff like that, basically linking Vanguard to like all the other games. And I think that's just for the purpose of like bringing Vanguard guns into like Warzone and stuff like that. But for just like bringing those things into the game, it's like don't like infect your Vanguard germs on my precious like Black Ops series for what it has left in Modern Warfare and MW. Don't do that. Let Vanguard be a flop by itself and keep everything else. So Vanguard is definitely going in F. I also heard people hated zombies in that. I know some people who play it, and I feel like you can have fun with it if you're with the homies, but just like especially by yourself, it's not that fun. Multiplayer, I heard there was actually destructibility in it, so that's like interesting that they put that in there. But from everything else I heard, it wasn't really too special, because it is yet again another World War II game. So yeah, I'm putting Vanguard in F. Yeah, that'll do it for today. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you guys have anything to say about any rankings, placements, anything like that, or any of the games individually, if you liked them or not. But yeah, that'll be it for today, and I'll see you next time.